What is up, guys? It's your boy Rickakis, and today we've got some not quite so brand spanking new Destiny 2 news. I was away on Thursday, I apologize, but I still want to cover the news and information from this week because there's some pretty important things that went on. And so, let's get started. Alright, now, definitely the first thing that happened was on the Tuesday weekly reset in the morning, Bungie released the Renegades weapons and gear trailer. Now, if you guys want to see a full breakdown of that trailer, check out my video linked right up above. However, Bungie actually provides some additional information within this week's TWID. So here's what they say involving the weapons. We're introducing a couple of new weapons subfamilies alongside Renegades, and one completely new type. So, heat weapons do not have magazines. Instead, they have heat sinks, allowing them to fire their ammo directly from reserves while generating heat with each shot. And they can be manually vented to dissipate heat at will. But be careful, overheating these weapons will force a sustained vent before you can fire again. And they also have a couple of new stats to look out for. So you have heat generated, which is how much heat is generated per shot. Then cooling efficiency is how quickly the weapon will cool when not being fired. And then vent speed is how fast the weapon reduces heat when manually vented or overheated, essentially reload speed. So overall, this is really sick. My worry from seeing the trailer, and we would see these venting animations in the trailer, was that these venting animations were basically reloads, and that they were normal weapons with a different kind of reload animation. But that's not the case at all, because you don't even have magazines. You're gonna get the new, heat weapon SMG. It's gonna have an infinite magazine size technically, and then you can just keep shooting as long as you don't build up enough heat. It'll cool down and you can shoot again. Or again, you can essentially reload, you can manually vent it, but this does sound very interesting, and certainly it sounds a lot different than the guns we have in Destiny right now. There's a lot of other games that have an overheat mechanic, and so it's going to be interesting to see these weapons in Destiny 2. Now, they additionally say that they've split heat weapons into two different archetypes. So you have dynamic heat weapons, which is higher base damage and then high heat generated, but the weapon cools down more rapidly between shots. Then you have balanced, very low heat generated. Manually venting at very high heat greatly increases venting speed. So they also say, in addition to the above benefits, primary ammo heat weapons have the intrinsic effect of dealing bonus damage to powerful combatants. And keep an eye out for the new heat-based perks and some fun interactions that we've added to some exotic armors, existing perks, and subclass atoms. So I want to draw your attention to the line, manually venting at very high heat greatly increases venting speed. That's essentially like a perfect reload. Think about the Gears of War, OG perfect reload. Essentially, that's what that sounds like. You don't let it get all the way to where you overheat and you're gonna have a longer animation. If you reload at the right time, you essentially cut your reload speed down. That's, again, a very interesting mechanic that weapons in the game, or most weapons in the game, certainly don't have access to. So again, these heat weapons actually do sound very different. Now, after that, they further break down each weapon we saw in that trailer. So you have the modified B7 pistol. This is a stasis hand cannon. It's a dynamic heat weapon. So again, that's the one that is higher base damage, higher heat generated, right? Then you have the all or nothing pulse rifle, which is strand. It's a dynamic heat as well. You have the M17 fast talker. This is a stasis submachine gun, a balanced heat weapon. So that's the low heat generated, likely that'll result in a lot of shots before overheating. Then you have the compact defender sidearm, void sidearm, dynamic heat weapon. The uncivil discourse is a special ammo hand cannon, which is arc. So we saw that in the trailer. No indication that it was special ammo, but Bungie is saying that here. So, okay, that could be crazy. Ariana's vow, but a dynamic heat weapon. Like, what the heck is that going to be, right? The refurbished A499. This is a heavy ammo sniper rifle. It's kinetic as well. Very few kinetic heavies in the game, and it says it's a disruption weapon, which fires a single heavy hitting round, disintegrates targets on impact. So this is sounding like a whole new kind of weapon. Then you have the Praxic Blade. Special ammo sword in the kinetic slot, which is exotic. So in the trailer, it said it was a kinetic weapon. Again, could have been a kinetic heavy like we just saw with the heavy sniper rifle. But no, guys, special ammo lightsabers. That's crazy. I mean, especially you can see in the trailer, like they're throwing these things. I can't even imagine an ergo sum that you could throw and do ranged attacks and has a blocking mechanism that reflects bullets that we saw in the trailer. Guys, like, this could be incredibly powerful using special ammo. That is crazy. Then you have the Heirloom, which we also saw, which is a special ammo crossbow. So no, it's not a heavy crossbow, it's a special ammo as well. It's solar, so we have some potentially really powerful weapons coming with Renegades there, and certainly unique. Again, that's the most important thing. We're not just adding the 1 billionth hand cannon. These actually have some unique, again, potentially perfect reload mechanics and all new perks that work with this like overheat system. These could actually be very different, and that is what I'm looking forward to. Now, Bungie also takes some time to like really specifically go over the new exotic armor pieces also shown off in that trailer. Again, in the trailer, it would just give like a few words spiel about what these exotics do, but I think Bungie's just straight up giving us the whole perk description. So for the Fortune's Favor, which is the Hunter exotic legs, they say after landing a final blow while at full health or when out of combat for an extended duration, your shields will recharge into an overshield. When you have any overshield, your weapons gain increased accuracy, stability, handling, and damage against combatants. Okay, that's important. That means only PvE enemies it'll do extra damage to. And final blows will grant a short period of increased mobility once the overshield is depleted. So again, this sounds like potentially insane for certain PvP scenarios because it reads like you can just be out of combat. So, you know, your Trials of Osiris round starts, you stay in the back of the map, and you will get an overshield. So yeah, you're not going to be doing more damage, but then when you find that enemy, when you get into a 1v1, you're going to start with an overshield. That is crazy. Now on the PvE side of things, very interesting, right? Like you have to be at full health, which is somewhat hard to do. You're being shot all the time, but then you can get a kill and gen an overshield. And it says like when you have that overshield, you get all of these benefits, including increased damage. Now I wonder, like, if you are getting kills at full health because you have an overshield, right? Will it recharge the overshield with every kill? That could be very good. Moving on from there, the Titan Praxic Vestment. It's a jetpack, and they actually say gain an air move jetpack, straight up jetpack. They say weapon and arc-powered melee final blows build up jetpack fuel. Activate your jetpack while airborne with a forceful blast that exhausts nearby enemies. Then fly forward based on the amount charged. Collide with a combatant, so a PvE enemy, to unleash a blinding blast of arc energy and gain a temporary bonus to your melee stat. So this could actually function in like a melee build, right? You're running an arc melee, maybe shoulder strike, more likely thunderclap or whatever it's called on prismatic, and then you're using that to charge up your jetpacking, which is going to release an arc blinding blast when you come into contact with an enemy. Now, in the footage, it looks like you're doing a shoulder strike animation, so if this blinding blast is coded as a melee, that has even more synergies as well. But regardless, it's also gonna, no matter what, be boosting your melee stat, which is going to set up your next arc melee to recharge your jetpack. This actually sounds more useful and less gimmicky than I originally thought. Because at first you're like, okay, it's a movement exotic, it's a jetpack, but you have this whole melee side of things that could make it pretty decent, actually. Now, it's interesting, it says collide with a combatant. So does that mean you can't get the melee at all in PvP against another Guardian? Or maybe you do get a melee, but it's just not blinding? Like, I'm not sure. Then you have the Warlock Daimo Suffusion, and this says, while a Strand Super is equipped, casting Rift will suspend nearby enemies, suspended enemies damage over time, healing you in the process. Combatants who break free from suspension suffer additional damage. Defeating suspended targets heals you a moderate amount. So this sounds fantastic for basing a build around, like making a suspension build around this exotic, right? You're going to be dealing damage, you're going to be healing yourself, and as long as you have enough suspending abilities, you have the Rift, of course, now doing a suspending blast. If you're playing on actually your Strand subclass, you could have suspension grenades. There's weapons like the new Malpus that are going to suspend. Like, you could really go hard into like a suspending build, and in high level PvE, suspending is very, very good. So yeah. Now there's an editor's note here. This originally said it would suspend combatants, but this will actually suspend both combatants and players, which is crazy, dude. Like, damaging players while you suspend them is gonna be, again, that is crazy. All right, guys, but aside from that trailer, we're going a bit out of order here. Something is happening this upcoming week, and that is Call to Arms. So this is going to launch on November 11th, the Tuesday reset. You can actually see, like, it's coming in game. There's a little Call to Arms node that says when it launches, and they say next week, Devram K, EDZ Scout, and a gentleman of well-defined taste comes to the tower for the first time on a mission, rallying Guardians to obtain the best gear and build up their power. During the Call to Arms event, you'll be able to attune event weapons to obtain that role you've been seeking, with a chance to receive their holofoil variants, claim daily powerful gear from different activities, and receive new lawless vouchers, formerly cutting-edge procurements, containing a random assortment of new Season 28 gear and other items. So by doing this activity, you will get loot when Renegades comes out, loot that belongs to that new season. There will also be a competition where you can compete against other Guardians to receive prestigious rewards, including a unique universal helmet ornament. Check out our previous TWAB for a full breakdown, and I'll link that right up above as well. So that could be a really interesting event, and linked to this event, they have some Twitch drops. So during the event, there's 2 exclusive Twitch drops that will be available to earn. You can receive a legendary Call to Armed themes shader for watching any Destiny 2 streamer for only 30 minutes, and receive an exotic ghost shell for gifting a sub to your favorite streamer. Alright, well, then your boy is gonna be live, twitch.tv/KakisHD. I'm actually happy they're doing this because it's finally something other than emblems. Like, it's always emblems, so getting a shader and a ghost shell, kind of some variety, I think that's actually pretty cool. So, moving on from there, guys, we have the Celebrate Veterans Appreciation Month with us, and you can see the Veterans Vanguard at Bungie. The information is right here. You can order the Be Courageous collectible pin, and you can receive an accompanying code, for the Tribute to Bravery emblem. So here's the emblem right here. Looks great, and again, you can see all the information you need to know. Of course, the links to this stuff, to this charity, to where you get the pin, are in the TWAB, and the TWAB is linked in the description of this video. Now, moving on from there, guys, they also mentioned that the cosplay Cosmodrome is going to return. So back in the final shape, we saw some incredible creative cosplays. They're going to be bringing that back. The last week of Festival Loss has on right now. So it's going to end November 11th at reset. If you're chasing, especially that Gunburn SMG, can get some pretty cool rolls. Definitely go after it in these last few days. After that, guys, that is pretty much it for the need to know information, the gameplay impacting information within the TWAB. Kind of the one last thing. Daylight savings time just happened, and this will impact the actual Destiny reset time. So it's now 9 a.m. Pacific as opposed to 10 a.m. Pacific previously. So I just mentioned that because Call to Arms coming up. If you're trying to get up for that reset, don't miss it. Guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That is linked in the description down below. Again, hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.